And welcome back to, wow, I was about to say welcome back to Box Report. It's, what if? Wow, I just, sorry. I just got back from being Santa Claus at work for 5 hours straight, so I'm a little fried at the moment. Yeah, we're back to What If, part 7 of What If Goku had Ikari from the beginning. Last time on the Dragon Ball Z What If, basically we were dealing with the Babidi Buu arc. Or what, little spoiler, is kind of going to be the lack thereof. The reason for that is, Yamu and Spovich had stolen Gohan's energy. They go off and they give the energy to Gohan while Shin and the others were in pursuit. Babidi takes the energy from them. He destroys them. Dabura does still get the up drop on a couple of them. Piccolo goes along, and him and Krillin most likely are still turned to stone. So you have Goku, Shin, Raditz, and Vegeta going into the ship. So a lot of this will still go about the same. Vegeta will most likely insist on going first, beating the absolute tar out of Pui. And then I think you'd actually see Raditz go up against Yakon, and he'd still beat him the same way that Goku would beat him. The problem here is that when Goku goes to fight Dabura, it is actually a pretty strong match. And he would steal some energy from Goku, sure. But the problem is they stole energy from Gohan to fill up Buu's meter. And as we discussed in the previous video, that only gets Buu to about 5%. So even if Goku and Vegeta had been duking it out from the very beginning, there's very little to suggest that at 5%, Buu would be completed by the time they fixed it up. Or that it was taken care of. But anyway, Goku and Dabura are duking it out. Now, Goku luckily had seen Dabura's turn into stone and was warned about the ability from Shin. So he's aware to avoid the spit. They probably duke it out for a while. Goku being Goku does want to test the waters with his opponent because he can tell this is a strong opponent, stronger than even Cell was because we never got to Perfect Cell. So they're going back and forth. Goku eventually goes into Super Saiyan, closes the gap quite a bit, then goes to Super Saiyan 2 and is overwhelming Dabura at that point. Hell, I would even argue that at this point, Goku and maybe in Raditz could pull off an Ikari Super Saiyan. Not Ikari Super Saiyan 2, but Ikari Super Saiyan. And not have it be a true detriment on their body, but it's still harsher than, say, Super Saiyan 2 is. Super Saiyan 2 is the natural next step, and it's just easier on the body overall. So they're going back and forth. Ultimately, Dabura decides to, peace out on that. And they're like, hey, where the hell are you going? And they try to follow them, pursue it. And eventually they blast their way down to where Babidi is, hanging out. The fight probably didn't give Buu much energy. At best, he might have gotten to 5% or more, so maybe 10%. But the reason that they are able to get to the bottom floor, or bottom layer of or bottom level of the ship where Babidi and Dabura are, currently currently located, is because Babidi, trying to sense, some evil and all the others, isn't really able to find something that he's able to manipulate out of the group. Now with Raditz, I feel that's pretty easy. He was able to find a new lease on life pretty early on with Goku, and he's actually enjoyed his life on Earth. Vegeta though would be the one that everyone's like, well, what about Vegeta? Vegeta isn't where he is in Super, where he's clearly a hero at that point. But he's not where he is in the original series either. This is due to the fact that, A, Goku has been alive and Raditz has been around. So not only has he been able to actually, test himself against Goku periodically, probably going toe-to-toe with him in multiple training sessions, multiple times a year, a month maybe even a week. Like, he gets to fight Goku all the time. And not only that, I do think that overall, even though Goku and Raditz even has an Ikari on it, they can kind of add to Super Saiyan at this point. It's still harsh on his body to do the combo. Both of them have Super Saiyan 2, and I actually imagine Vegeta being the bit stronger of the two. So, worst case scenario, he can just usually beat on Raditz and beat him in a fight. Doesn't always, which pushes Vegeta farther, but it's still, he's at a place where he's actually comfortable. The problem with Vegeta in the original was that, and he even explained that, he found himself with a family of his own, but he didn't feel the same kind of things that Goku felt. He just felt something was missing. And the reason he was so adamant and held so much contempt with Goku is because he died without ever having beaten him. And, and then in their fights, you feel humiliated? You don't know the meaning of the word! Just beating the hell out of him. So this Vegeta, even though he's not in he's not in super mentality, I'd say he's probably closer to Dragon Ball Z, like the end of Z, where, it's like, I admit it, Kakarot, you are the best. Now, maybe he's never admitted that, but at the same time, he's in that mentality where he's kind of found a level peace at the moment. So it's very hard. They're not really able to get anything out of these guys, and ultimately they crash through. Dabura tries to defend him by spitting insanely quickly and a lot, but they quickly just vaporize the spit and basically blow his head off, or at least incapacitate him with a serious blow. That's when Shin comes and just either takes Babidi out, which I think Shin would have killed Babidi if he had the chance, as long as Boo hadn't been released. But and forgive me if you hear some noise in the background. That is the sound of the ocean. That's just sorry. I have a noise machine. I keep on at night to help fall asleep. Normally it's not that loud, but I think the volume's a little on the louder side. So sorry if you hear that in the background. It's not that I don't think it's that annoying, but it is the sound of water. So whatever. Anyway, so they very much keep Boo in check. Shin, Kibito is revived. Well, they revive Kibito with the Dragon Balls. Piccolo and Krillin are restored. And all's well that ends well. Babidi and Kibito, after Kibito is resurrected, take Boo's capsule. Dabura's most likely been either detained or killed at this point. They wish him well, and they, fly off. Now, unfortunately, they do say, we never got oh man, we missed the tournament. Oh man, who won the tournament? Cut to 18. It's like winning the tournament hands down, and getting the prize money. Woohoo! So now that brings us into Dragon Ball Super. Now, a big thing here is that Goku never trained with King Kai. So he's not training with King Kai at the time when Beerus wakes up. So when Beerus wakes up, he just goes over to King Kai. He's like, "Oh, Lord Beerus. Hello, Kai. I'm looking for something called the Super Saiyan God. Have you heard of it?" "Well, I don't believe I have been able to hear it, and I'm pretty well versed in Saiyans. It seems most of the remaining Saiyans live on Earth." "Well, very well, Whis. We'll go there." "Hey, you're not planning to do anything to the planet." "I'm just going there for a friendly chat. What they make me do is entirely on them." "Goku! Dende, you gotta warn them!" And so Dende does warn, luckily, them ahead of time, because we did get Dende in on this. And he warns them ahead of time, particularly Vegeta, who does remember Beerus. He's like, "I remember that name." And he's like, "Ah!" And then he reminds Raditz who this guy is. The Raditz really never met him. He's heard rumors, I'm willing to bet. And he's like, "Oh, God, no." And they're looking at Goku, knowing Goku, like, "Oh, no." It's like, you're still here. He's like, "Well, come on, guys. We'll give you all the food you want." "Oh, great." He's just busy eating like a closet for a while. "Hello, Beerus. How are you doing?" It's like, Vegeta. What seems to be going on? Celebrations. Yes, it's my wife's birthday, sir." "Oh, well, congratulations. But I'm here for different things." "Oh, well, I mean, come on, guy. You got to try out this food." It's like, "Is this some sort of game?" It's like, "Yep, you just got to pick the right one." It's like, "Oh, God, don't get the wasabi." This pastry has a mollusk in it. It's delightful." It's like, yes. So eventually Goku gets out and it's like, "Oh, man, that was great. Is there any dessert left?" It's like, Lord Beerus, you must try this pudding. It's delicious." And Beerus gets his pudding because Boo's not around, so that's all well and good. Finally, Goku's like, "Hey, who's that guy?" It's like, And Beerus, admittedly being the attuned one, can sense that, then who are you exactly? "Oh, I'm Goku." "Goku?" He's my brother, Lord Beerus." "Oh, that's interesting name for a Saiyan." And he kind of briefly says, he kind of was sent to this planet before. Saiyan is actually Kakarot, but he grew up on this planet under a different name. He's like, "Yeah, who is this?" "This is Lord Beerus. He's the destroyer god of the seventh of our universe, and he could wipe us out with a single moment." Like, "Really? You're that strong?" Well, I don't like to brag that much." He's like, "Well, is that right?" "Shut up, Whis." "Really? Could we maybe go at it?" He's like, "Really? In all my years, I've never had such a challenge. Why not?" And so they go off. Goku does the whole, "This is a Super Saiyan." And goes at him, fails miserably. this is Super Saiyan 2. Yeah, it's like, oh, but you're hiding something else, aren't you? There is something. I can't hold it very long. Although at this point, he probably has the same amount of control over Ikari Super Saiyan 2 he does over Super Saiyan 3, which is a fair bit of control, mind you, despite the massive amount of damage he does to his body. But either way, he just powers up, and then his hair goes on, and even it's like a spiky. It looks a bit like Broly's, honestly, spiky yet wild looking. And even Beerus is impressive because remember, adding an Ikari onto a Super Saiyan form is a 10 times multiplier, which means Ikari Super Saiyan is actually 5 times stronger than just the Super Saiyan 2 transformation. And Ikari Super Saiyan 2 is about 2.5 times stronger than the actual Super Saiyan 4 transformation. Not as quite as strong as the alleged 10 times Super Saiyan 4 added on to 3, but still. And Beerus is like, I must admit, that is some impressive power you have. I could go back down if you like. No, just do your best. It's like, ah! And, he's going toe-to-toe. He's not toe-to-toe. He's doing his best against Beerus. And because he's much stronger than Super Saiyan 3, he is able to actually cause Beerus to, I must admit, I will give you credit. I'm not blocking just simply for the sake of blocking and to make you feel good. I might actually take a hit here or there if I'm not careful. It's like, and then Goku is actually able to surprise him. He's like, is that right? And then he feints a hit and just boom, gut checks Beerus. Like, oh, and then Kamehameha actually point blank blasts Beerus. And everyone's just like, whoa. And it's like, cool. And meanwhile, they look over to see Vegeta and Raj just going like, ah! And it's like, They say, how was that? It's like, I must admit, for a mortal, you're very impressive indeed. But unfortunately, you're not the one I'm looking for. Boom! And just done out. It's like, well, that was actually quite invigorating, but I'm here about a Super Saiyan God. Tell me, what do you folks know? Super Saiyan God? Believe me, I'm well versed in the legend of the Super Saiyan, Lord Beerus, but a Saiyan God I'm not familiar with. It's like, I can't say I've ever heard. Yeah, me neither. Well, this is very frustrating. Although frustrating, the trip to this planet seemed to be almost entirely pointless. Then, well, the food was quite delicious. That is true. And then eventually they figure out, let's use the Dragon Balls, and they get Shenron, who's freaked out by seeing Beerus. Explains how to make a Super Saiyan God. Now, luckily, because Radz did marry someone, let's just say it's Launch, just to make it easier on everyone. Who he married really doesn't play a factor in the story at all. The fact that what does play a factor is that he did have a kid. That's roughly around Goten's age. Goten and Trunks' age. So they have Raditz, Goku, Vegeta, Trunks, Gohan, Goten, and Radz's kid. I believe, what did I name him? Arugula or something? I don't know. So there's enough Saiyans without even going into the fact that Vidal's pregnant. And yes, Vidal, I think, is with Gohan at this point. Hercule Satan gets introduced to everything here. He's he's freaked out, but not in the same way he was with Cell. It's because he's now learning all this for the first time, except for the fact that there's just all these people stronger than him. He did do that initially on his own, but he was being portrayed as the savior of the world when he very much wasn't. So I think Hercule Satan is still generally an alright guy in this. And he's still generally a part of things. And he still holds the overall title of martial arts champ. Because even though 18 won, she didn't win. I do think it's the same scenario as what happened here. What happened in the original, where Hercule's basically like, oh girl, it's like, look, I'll let you win. I don't want to be martial arts champion because then I'm going to have to come back here each year. It's just going to be annoying. So look, give me the prize money and you can win. I think it was still that scenario. And so eventually, and they decide that it was Goku who gets to be the god again. Now they did talk. I do think they talk about it that Raditz might have been a decent choice, and even Vegeta maybe should have been the choice. But I would say that they agree on Goku because I think Beerus would chime and say, I would like the one known as Goku / Kakarot to be the one who becomes the god. He was the strongest among you, so he'll provide the most adequate host. And Vegeta's just, and so he becomes the god. They have their fight. Everything ends well because there's no threat to the Earth in this version. Beerus is not threatening to destroy the planet at all. He just wanted the fight. There was no Boo here to ruin his meal or anything like that, so he gets the fight. It's a good fight, solid fight, all's well that ends well. Now we have Goku and Vegeta going to train with them during the 1,000-Year Blood. Wow, I'm thinking Bleach here. Just watched the Bleach video. During the Resurrection F arc. Now, would Raditz go as well? I'll be honest, I don't think Raditz would be very interested in learning the Super Saiyan God transformation. I mean, it's not like there's a reason Gohan didn't go either, and I liken Raditz a little bit more closer to Gohan in mentality than a Goku or a Vegeta. Not that he's a brainiac nerd or anything like that, and not that he shirks on his training at all. He definitely keeps up with his training. But he could tell that, this is something that's particular to these two. And he'll just keep climbing on his own. He'll keep working on Ikari transformations, all that. So that's what he's working on. So Goku and Vegeta, they do their training. Then Resurrection F comes along. Now, do we even get Resurrection F? Because I'll admit, I'm trying to remember if I actually I do believe I had King Cold, and I do believe King Cold got killed by Trunks, if I'm not mistaken. For the argument's sake, I can't, because honestly, it's been now 7 parts, and this was weeks ago, so I don't remember if Cold got involved or not. I do think the Ginyus are still around to some capacity, though. So you could make the argument that, yes, they resurrect Frieza, but at the same time, I'd imagine the Ginyus are fine just doing their own thing and, controlling the Empire from there. You could get the Ragtag group, though. You could get the Ragtag group that brings Frieza back. Honestly, I think for the sake of argument, let's just say, assuming the Ginyus, I left the Ginyus alive, which I'm going to be flat honest, I can't remember if I did or not. But if the Ginyus are alive, I think they're just kind of running Frieza's empire now. And I think they probably run it pretty effectively. So I don't see them wanting to bring back Frieza, or Frieza's forces even wanting to bring him back. So that skips Resurrection F. That leads us all the way into Tournament 6 arc. Universe 6 Tournament arc, I should say. Where obviously Champa comes. They do their whole, let's do the tournament. Here you would get Vegeta, Goku, Raditz, because there's no Boo, and I still think Piccolo. Granted, they almost lose Goku because of Vegeta's stupid things. Like, we need to do this written exam because it's important to be smart, and even Beerus is like, what? That was stupid. And Vegeta's like, whatever, you still managed to pass. And obviously they bring in Monaka. Goku goes first. The Batama fight goes the same. Frost fight goes the same. Goku goes. Piccolo gets knocked out or forfeits and then Vegeta knocks out Frost. Vegeta goes through the opponents as he does, and then Hit comes along and knocks him out. Raditz comes along, and Raditz immediately goes into Ikari Super Saiyan 2, and Goku's like, when did he learn that? It's like, seems even though he didn't decide to train with us in God Ki, he still seemed to be hell-bent on training on his own, and sure enough, he's got Ikari Super Saiyan. Not that it matters much, he still goes down. Goku and Hit's fight goes roughly the same up until, we get to the point where he needs the Kaioken to win. Now, Goku does say, like, I haven't been able to try this yet. And he's powering up, and he powers up into, what is this? I call it Ikari Blue. I've added the power of the Ikari form onto my Super Saiyan Blue, which really is basically meaning it's a Super Saiyan Ikari with the God Ki, because Super Saiyan Blue is just Super Saiyan added on the God Ki. And basically, it's the equivalent of Kaioken, because it's a tiny stand multiplier, it's a equivalent of Kaioken times 10, except Goku can just maintain it. He doesn't have to be constantly in Kaioken and putting the strain on his body. Granted, this is initially a pretty strong strain on him. Either way, he is pushing the envelope and it's the best way you can kind of get a next stage transformation out of the Super Saiyan Blue without actually doing like Super Saiyan Blue Evolve or whatever. I always call it Royal Blue, let's be fair. So their fight pretty much ends on the same note. It does end on the same note. And then Hit gives up and surrenders to Monaka. Goku Black Arc, mostly I actually think that's the same. I think Radz doesn't go along. I think he stays in the past. Because there's not going to be enough room in the time machine, honestly. But he stays in the past, keeps the Night Homestead, because because without Goku and Vegeta, he's by far the strongest one there. Goku and Vegeta have their multiple bouts with Zamasu and Goku Black, ultimately resulting in the fight between Vegito and Goku and Zamasu. Should know the Zeno thing still happens against the button. But would you still get Vegito Blue? I do think you would. And this is due to the fact that Goku is, Goku and Vegeta never fused before. Vegeta was against the idea because he didn't want to do it again. He hated that. Here, it's like they don't have much of a choice, and it's kind of the same scenario you got with the original Boo versus Vegeta thing, where, Vegeta didn't have really that much of a choice, and eventually people relented. Here, it's a much easier going scenario, but still. And knowing that it's not permanent helps as well. That all goes the same. Vegeta ultimately defuses. Zamasu gets erased by Zeno. All that good stuff. All the good shit, Billy. So that leads us down to the Tournament of Power. Now, this is actually where, believe it or not, Super Saiyan Ikari having Ikari form hurts Goku immensely. But we'll get to why in a minute. Let's talk about the team. It is pretty much who you'd think it is minus, and I got hair here. I think it's from a dog from work. It's pretty much who you think it is minus Frieza. Because there's no Boo. But you get Goku, Vegeta, Raditz to fill in for Gohan. The twins, 18 and 17. Krillin, Tien, Roshi. Then you'd also get... excuse me. Then you also get... who am I... Then you'd get, I think, 16 to be added on there as well. And then that's where the problem child comes in. Because with Goku, Vegeta, and Raditz, you already got that filler already. You had Piccolo in there, and then you had the twins. Oh, yeah, there we go. And then I think you'd actually add 16, because 16 is alive in this version. He stayed alive. He's been working on that preserve with 17. So they go into the Universal Tournament. A lot of the same stuff goes down. Although 16, I think, is a lot more calculating and just eliminating. I do think Krillin's the first out, followed by Tien, then Roshi. I'm pretty sure that was the order it was. It was Tien, then Roshi, I'm pretty sure. If not, we know the humans were out first. I actually think 16 would be the next one out, because he's actually the weakest one after all the rest of them. And I think they see that he's just going so systematic about it that they kind of got to get him out of there. So I do think 16 goes down. But when you get to the Goku versus Jiren fight, there's a big problem. He doesn't have Super Saiyan. He doesn't have the Spirit Bomb, which is what pushed him over the edge. Now, sometimes I am able to make up a way that Goku's still able to access Ultra Instinct without the Spirit Bomb. Like when he is able to use the Super Saiyan 4 form, or Primal as I like to call it when we're not using the other forms, then you can make an argument he's being pushed way past his limits. Unfortunately, Goku not only doesn't have the Spirit Bomb, he doesn't even have a Kaioken times 20. He might be stronger than his canon counterpart here, but the fact is he doesn't have a 20 times multiplier to add on to Blue. He's just got Kaioken times 10 equivalency. Granted, he can maintain it longer than the Kaioken, but Goku's actually is having a big problem here. And so I guess the question quickly becomes, is there any way that Goku can access the Ultra Instinct form, or otherwise get his teeth kicked in? No joke, I honestly don't think so. Unless Jiren decides to just throw a massive attack at him and Goku just nearly dies from that. Or Goku decides to do like the biggest Kamehameha he can to knock out Jiren. Jiren basically throws it back and Goku then gets enveloped by it. For the sake of saving Universe 7, or at least trying to, and giving Goku an out to Ultra Instinct, let's say the Kamehameha thing has, where he gives him his strongest Kamehameha he possibly can, and Jiren repels it and he kind of just gets enveloped in the explosion. And then he shows back up in, Ultra Instinct, and then everything kind of goes back into form a little bit. Now, there is an issue here that Frieza's not around. He's not there to give Goku his energy. And will someone be able to find Goku? That's a tough question, because everyone's fighting everyone at the moment. I think, though, if anyone were to do it, it'd be Raditz. Raditz gives him I think he also gives him a bit more energy than, say, Frieza did, because it is his brother, and he wants him to, be ready to fight. I think he gives him enough energy to kind of like do a Super Saiyan transformation if he had to. Whereas with Frieza, he had to work towards a Super Saiyan transformation. So ultimately, Raditz goes off and says, "Are you okay, Kara?" Thanks, I'm fine, bro. Go and do your thing. Go out and help the others. I've got it on my own. Universe 3 tries to take him on, and then Kale and Caulifla happen. Except Goku is now able to control the fight a lot easier because he's already got Super Saiyan under his belt. Then goes to Super Saiyan 2, God. He doesn't do 3, obviously. I did like that where he showed off for 3, but because that 3's always been probably my favorite form. No joke, it's my favorite form. I just think it looks badass. I like the fact it's like primal energy, this look of feral nature. Even more so a little bit than Super Saiyan 4. And ultimately that fight still ends up the same, where Goku basically kind of gets knocked out, and then goes into Ultra Instinct. They go again. You will proceed to get the people who need to be knocked out in that order. There goes Piccolo. There goes 18. And so you basically get left with Universe 9. Ultimately, it comes down to Universe 9, Dispo, Topo, and Jiren versus Goku, Vegeta, Raditz, and 17. So I think Raditz and 17 take on, well, not exactly, I should say, because what was it? It was Goku and Gohan. Who was fighting Topo at the time? Oh, 17 was fighting Topo 101. Okay, so really it'd be Raditz versus Dispo, Topo versus 17, and Vegeta and Goku teaming Jiren like they were. Difference here is that I think Raditz is a bit, not more clever than Gohan, but he's a bit more on the fly resourceful than Gohan. I think, for instance, he might kick up Dust, blind Dispo, and then quickly gut check him, even hit him with his hair in Super Saiyan. Then ultimately kind of like drive the fight towards Topo, and him and 17 together kind of do a group blast to blow at least one of them off the ledge. Probably Dispo, as he's the physically weaker of the two. Topo tries to beat them, but he can't. And ultimately, he was actually going to accept his defeat until Frieza basically fought dirty. And they're not going to fight dirty. So honestly, I think Topo goes out naturally, which means Raditz and 17 both go to aid Goku, and Vegeta, they're getting their shit kicked in again. Jiren, again, overwhelms them. 17 brings up the shield. Raditz, I think, is the one who actually goes out and gives his last bit of energy to Goku and Vegeta, powering them both up. They, again, go toe-to-toe. I think, honestly, Vegeta, it gives basically his like final his final flash to basically kind of like check Jiren as hard as he can, point blank, before also giving the last bit of energy to Goku, and then Goku gets knocked out or nearly knocked out. Then does that great. I love that shot where he just gut checks Jiren, just and Jiren's like ooh. And then Jiren and their fight begins, and it goes all the way to the end until, Goku's power basically craps out. Jiren's about to knock him out, but 17 is actually there and saves Goku, sorry. And it's also revealed that Vegeta was still around. I'm now just kind of throwing random things here. You'd think Vegeta gets knocked out, but I actually like the idea of Vegeta kind of hanging on, landing on like some ledge or something, and we don't even notice that people realize, hey, wait, Vegeta wasn't here the whole time. So you have Vegeta, 17, and Goku. I do think they do the whole overwhelming Jiren bit, although not as intense here, because unlike with Frieza, he's not going to just toy with Jiren. He's just going to make sure he gets knocked out. Which leads, ultimately, I think 17 still is a winner. He brings the universes back. In the Dragon Ball Broly movie, you'll notice I'm kind of speeding through it a little bit now, but we've said all I really need to say about it. I actually didn't think I'd get it done today, like the last part, but when I realized how far I was, I realized it just made more sense to do it all in one final chapter. The Broly movie, really, there's not much to actually say, except for the fact that they would actually recognize the Ikari power-up that Broly does, because Goku can do it too, and so can Raditz. And really, I don't even know if the Broly movie would even happen, because Frieza's dead still. So, honestly, the Broly movie wouldn't even really happen, because they have no reason to go out and just look for Broly. So, ultimately, Broly doesn't happen, they just stay on that planet. So, that's sad. Oh, but, I mean, I guess you could say that the Frieza forces do find him like they did initially. And I don't see them really having a reason to bring them to Earth. I don't think they really want revenge on Goku or Vegeta at all. So really, they just give him employment and place to stay. So there you go. Ultimately, though, that is the end of What If Goku Had Ikari. Join us next Saturday when we do a brand new What If. Until then, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe. As always, if you want us to review something, put in the comments below. Let us know. We'll do a review of it at some point. Hit that bell if you want to be notified. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you folks next time.